One of the most important things you can do in terms of energy efficiency is audit your home for its energy efficiency. You can do some of that yourself, or you can hire a professional energy auditor. Michael Whelan is a professional energy auditor. He's also a contractor and a registered architect, but we're going to talk about energy efficiency and energy auditing today.
Excellent.
Owner of Live Green. Says it right there. There you are.
Absolutely.
Why is an energy audit so very important?
Mostly homeowners are looking for energy efficiency, reducing their energy bills, and the comfort, increasing the comfort in their home. But the energy audit itself is most important in that as a first step to efficiency, in that we're trying to get reduce the air leakage, increase the insulation values in your house, so that if you're looking at replacing other systems in the house, you're replacing those systems based on an efficient home.
So if there is some air leakage, let's say there's leakage through the attic, leakage through the doors, one thing and another, one thing after another,
yeah.
What are the kinds of savings you can get? Because I'm talking about a large volume here. It could be the whole house.
Right.
But what are the, can you deal with percentages?
Well, you know, it's an interesting thing. Most every single house is different and unique, and obviously the family comes in, the owners come into play in how they use their energy as well. So there are people out there that are very efficient with the way they use energy, even though their house is extremely inefficient. So their savings are going to be smaller because they're running their furnace at 60 degrees in the winter and freezing. And they don't run their air conditioning, they're sweating during the summer. But most of us like to be comfortable in our house, and so, you know, the savings vary, but you can expect savings anywhere from, I mean, we've seen them from, on the high side, $1,200 to $1,300 a year annually. You know, and this is a house that's using a lot of energy. And then on the low side, it'll just be a couple $100. But
well, the Department of Energy says, depending on whether you seal your house, when an energy auditor says do X and Y, I could be from 5 to 30% savings per year.
Yeah, on a percentage basis, absolutely.
Okay, so how about the audit itself? How long does it take? How much does it cost?
Well, the energy audit takes typically about anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5, 4 hours, depending on how involved the homeowner likes to be, depending on the size of the home, the systems that we're testing. As far as the cost is concerned, it just depends. If you're in Montgomery County, you can get a Pepco audit for $100, and they pay for 3/4 of it, 3/4 of the audit fee, so it's a $400 audit. The homeowner's only paying $100.
This is Maryland you're talking about?
This is in Maryland, Montgomery County, Maryland. Virginia, I know that the power company has some incentives there for getting an energy audit as well. But typically an energy audit, if you were just to come to us with no programs in place, would be $425 base, and then depending on the size of the house and systems, it would be higher.
Right, which is the usual rate. You audit. Let's say I do an energy audit. Are there federal, state, city, or local financial incentives for me to actually do it?
Yes, there absolutely are. On the federal level, you have until December 31st, 2010, to take advantage of a $1,500 tax incentive, up to a $1,500 tax incentive, which is 15% of the material costs. And
once you're finished the energy audit,
get the improvements made to the home.
The audit itself, though, are there financial incentives for me to call you up and say I'd like an energy audit?
Like I said, Pepco has one.
That's a local utility.
That's a local utility. BG&E, which is Northern Maryland, has their own incentives. Virginia, I know the power company there has incentives. So you really just need to look on a federal level. No. But on a local level, you need to just look at.
So look at your utility.
Exactly.
Look at your local government and look at your state government and basically call them up and ask, is really what you're saying.
And usually if you get down to their website and look up home energy efficiency on their websites, that's where you go.
Now, people can actually do some of their own work. I mean, I've been spending a whole day with you. It does take a significant amount of time with a lot of equipment. But if you're at home or in your apartment checking for leaks, what are the simple things you can do?
You know, well, usually if the wind is blowing very hard on a cold day, you can tell where your leaks are. But one simple test you can do is if you have a lot of exhaust fans in your home, you can turn all your exhaust fans on and go around with like a piece of lit incense, and just run it by the door, and you'll see the smoke moving where you have air leakage. Another funny little thing is spider webs. Spiders build their webs in airstreams because they're looking for, that's where the bugs are coming through. And if you have a lot of spider webs, typically there's air leakage there. And so you can go in and use spray foam insulation and spray those openings as well.
One of the key things, though, for in terms of an energy audit is our safety concerns. Is that right? You
Right.
look at furnaces, you look at boilers. Why?
When you get a professional audit, the health and safety testing that we do on your furnace and your hot water heater and your gas oven, we're making sure that those units aren't backdrafting under particular situations. They're not backdrafting dangerous carbon monoxide back into the home. That's probably the most important test that we do. And I come across it a lot. I come across a lot of units that are backdrafting.
Something to look for then.
Yeah.
We talk about homes primarily.
Mm-hmm.
Should apartment owners get audits?
Apartments are a whole different animal because it really depends on the mechanical systems they have in place. A lot of times apartment buildings, the building itself has a mechanical system for all the apartments. So you would have to actually do an audit for all the apartments at once. It just really depends. I know, we do single family dwellings and we do town homes. But then there's another level where you get into multifamily audits, which requires a different company to actually do that.
Do you have to do this more than once a year? Or, once in the lifetime of your home? No, you don't. Insulation does have a tendency to break down with age, but basically what it does is it settles, especially if you get blown in insulation. But if you have work done in your home, you'd probably want to have another energy audit done. One of the things that we do is we do the audit. If we do the improvements on the home, we actually come back and do a test out. So because the house has become tighter, we're making sure that those combustion appliances are still venting properly, and we're looking at the air leakage rate to see what the reduction in air leakage is on the home. That's a test out?
That's called a test out, yes. It's basically a short version of an audit.
How do I check out an energy auditor and whether he or she is credible? What do I look for?
You're looking for, you want to make sure that they have certain certifications. One of them is BPI, which is the Building Performance Institute. You want to make sure they're certified through BPI, and not only in auditing, but also in an envelope certification as well with BPI. And then look to see if they're a contractor. Yeah, I mean, there's many ways that you can check. You can get on Angie's List. You can go to Checkbook. You can, for the PEPCO program, you get on their website. They've all been qualified for doing specifically PEPCO work.
Local utility
again. And then in the state of Maryland, you have the Maryland Energy Administration. You can get on their website, and they have a listing of contractors as well that they've qualified.
Envelope certification you brought up. What's that?
Right. That's a requirement for an auditor now. You have to be certified. It's mainly for certification for these programs, PEPCO and BG and whatnot. But it's basically the envelope is the thermal envelope of the house, that line between, right here, the exterior wall, between interior and exterior, between conditioned and unconditioned space.
What's your nugget of advice for most people looking for an energy auditor? What's the first thing they should do?
I think getting on the websites and really checking them out. A lot of people have had an energy audit, and you can get on like your local listserv and ask, does anybody know a good auditor? And usually, there's a million ways with the computer these days to find out the qualifications of an auditor.
Or go to Pushing Green. and live
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just come to us.
there. Michael Whelan, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.